First up, the big headline story of today. Well, protests against the amended Citizenship Act have ripped through the nation as violent agitations reach West Bengal as well as Delhi. Now, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi reacted to the violent clashes, calling them unfortunate and depressing. He reassured citizens that the new law would not impact them in any manner and urged people to stay away from rumour mongering and falsehoods. In his words, now is the time to work together and oppose vested interests trying to divide the nation. Now, the Home Ministry has also issued an advisory to all states and union territories in view of the incidents of violence and damage to public property, as well as the Supreme Court that has taken note of the violent clashes in Delhi. The Chief Justice has said that the court will determine whether human rights were violated or not once the atmosphere of violence recedes. All petitions against the new citizenship law will be heard on December 18th. And WION's principal diplomatic correspondent sent us this report.
Well, I'm at the JMI University. On Sunday, we saw Delhi police entering the campus of the university, and since then we have seen protests spreading across the country in solidarity with Jamia. Today we have the visuals as well. These students are protesting right now with the pictures of Mahatma Gandhi, and of course the protests are basically after the passage of the controversial Citizenship Amendment Bill, which has now become a law which gives citizenship, Indian citizenship, to minorities from 3 countries, that's Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh, but it's being called as a discriminatory law. And since then we have seen protests from northeast of India, especially the eastern state of Assam, spreading towards the other parts of the country from universities. It started, it seems, from Jamia, and now it's spreading to other universities. We saw visuals from the Delhi University and of course IITs, especially IIT in the southern city of Chennai. With video journalist Siddhant, Sibbal for WION in New Delhi.
So protests obviously continuing today as well, with students taking to the streets across India. At the Nadwa College in Lucknow, they came out in protests in large numbers against the bill. The police responded by closing the gates and not letting the students out of the campus. Authorities are saying that the students were hurling stones at them but have now started returning back to classes. Meanwhile, in Mumbai, students from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences took to the streets as well. They were heard pledging not just to submit any documents to prove their citizenship. Around 172 students from the Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore also wrote a letter to the Prime Minister condemning the crackdown on the students in Jamia. This brings the total number of protesting universities to 12. Now, not just students, politicians too have taken to the streets. In Kerala, both the Chief Minister and the leader of the opposition shared stage at a joint protest against the new citizenship law. And of course, West Bengal Chief Minister, not to be left behind, Mamata Banerjee too took to the streets against the new law. West Bengal, Kerala and Punjab are the 3 states that have outrightly rejected the citizenship law. The major opposition parties in India came together to rally against it. Yesterday's clashes at the Jamia University, however, were the most violent. The police even barged into the university campus and detained about 50 students. All of them were released around 3:30 a.m. local time this morning after a huge backlash. Jamia's Vice-Chancellor Najma Akhtar has come out in support of her students. She blamed outside actors for the violence and demanded a high-level inquiry into the whole incident. Soon ripples were felt across India as university students expressed solidarity with their counterparts in Delhi. At the Aligarh Muslim University in Uttar Pradesh, batons and tear gas were used by the police to disperse students. Students shouted slogans, breaching police barricades, which also resulted in injuries to police personnel. As of now, the Aligarh Muslim University's Christmas vacation has been extended to the 5th of January. The hostels have been evacuated and internet suspended. Now, similar protests also broke out at the Banaras Hindu University, the Maulana Azad Urdu University in Hyderabad and the Jadavpur University in Kolkata. Even IIT Chennai was not untouched from the protests. The students sat on protests against the new citizenship law. And not just that, well, protests also erupted in Bengaluru, and our correspondent Nishita sent us this report.
Students from across the country have joined hands, have taken to the streets to protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act, as well as the alleged police atrocity against the students of Jamia Millia Islamia in Delhi on Sunday evening. Students of the Indian Institute of Science have also come together and have expressed solidarity with the students from Delhi as well as different other parts of the country. One, express support and solidarity with the students who are facing violence at the hands of the security personnel in Delhi and different other parts of the country, and also to protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act, alleging that it discriminates against the Muslim community, and they would want to call a spade, and they also claim that many of the administration is using premier institutions like the IITs and IISc to defend the action, saying that it is only institutions like JMU and Jamia Millia Islamia that are indulging in alleged anti-national activities, and these students are protesting against this notion and are standing in support of the students who are victims of this violence. In Bengaluru, with video journalist Taraka Rampogri, Nishita Virendra, WION World is One.
All right, and now WION's political editor Kartikeya Sharma is now joining us live for the latest on this situation. A student movement, clearly protests that have now galvanized student protests across the country. Worrying sign indeed, Kartikeya. Now, at multiple levels, what is the government's thinking at this point? We know that this has gone to the Supreme Court. The JMI University Chancellor has asked for an inquiry, saying that the violence was not provoked by the students but outside forces. What are you picking up at this point?
See, there is a difference between the CAA, which is Citizens Amendment Act, and the NRC. You know, NRC has been mandated by the Supreme Court of India in Assam. So there is no National Register of Citizenship drive which is taking place in India. It's a proposal which was electoral in nature, which was set during 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Now, Citizenship Amendment Act is a different story altogether. I think a lot of fact and fiction has merged. And let me get into the detailing of CAA, because what is happening is that incidentally, in a lot of quarters, NRC is being confused with the Citizenship Amendment Act. For example, this bill has been in public domain from 2016 onwards. This bill went through the Standing Committee of Parliament, which was cleared by more than 30 members of Parliament. The bills on the similar line was presented in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So it went through that bipartisan method where opposition was already in loop. Now, the second thing which I think is not being put in public domain properly is that the bill does not apply to the Indian citizens. This CAA bill actually has a cut-off date of 31st of December 2014, which means that the people who are already inside India will be given citizenship. It does not mean that the people who will come to India after 2014 will be provided the citizenship. So I think that is very important. And the charges that why India is taking in persecuted Hindus from other areas is something which is misplaced in argument. In 1962, until 1978, 2 lakh Burmese, now Myanmaris, were settled in various parts of India by the respective governments. So 62 to 78 also included the government of Morarji Desai, which was a Janata Dal government. Then between 1964 to 2008 onwards, which included government of Morarji Desai, VP Singh, Gujral, Charan Singh, Chandrasekhar, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee also, and Manmohan Singh also, 4.61 lakh Hindu Tamils were settled in nook and corner of this country where they could be accommodated and they could easily assimilate. In 2004, again when Manmohan Singh's government was in place, the district magistrates of the state of Gujarat and Rajasthan were ordered by the central government to settle migrant Hindu population. Now, I am putting these pointers in context because the protest which is taking place is confusing the idea of NRC with CAA. And lastly, and the most important of all, the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution, which now becomes applicable in Northeast, will prevent any migrant which comes under CAA to be settled under the tribal part of India. So the question would be, why this politics? I think the larger issue is that on the issue of NRC, which is a nationwide thing, there is no consensus. And I think the politics is taking place on that line. You cannot have a politics on CAA because not only it comes approved from the parliamentary committees, but it also gets approved from the both houses of the parliament, which under the normal jurisprudence, even the Supreme Court of India will not strike it down.
All right, Kartikeya, thanks very much indeed for joining us with the latest there. So clearly many people confusing the NRC with the Citizenship Amendment Bill, and that's obviously creating a lot of confusion and unrest as well. Thanks for that.